This is PWF Empire Live.
It's the best thing going today.
The best insight and analysis on the hottest topics in the world of wrestling happens here. From storylines and news to rumors and reviews, we've got the action covered from bell to bell.
Believe that.
Presented by PWFempire.com with your hosts, Charlie Feist, Evan Medina, and J-Dub.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
The match starts now.
PWF Empire is live Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern on PWFempire.com. Thank you guys for joining us on today's episode. I'm Jay, and I'm joined on the hosting panel tonight by Charlie.
Charlie's Lock. It has been 1 week without Brock Lesnar. I am unsure of whether or not I can handle further episodes. Oh, hey, everybody, how's it going? Just tending to some business over here.
And Evan. So, Charlie, you're going through it over there?
Yes. The lack of Brock Lesnar is kind of getting to me. It's like I'm going through withdrawals, if you will.
Well, we will be talking about the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match that will be taking place at Extreme Rules. It may not necessarily feature Brock Lesnar, but it does have two of WWE's top superstars.
And thankfully, one of them is not Ryback.
Alrighty, guys. Like I said, thank you for tuning in to this episode of PWF Empire Live. We would love it if you guys join in on the fun. Let us know what you think about everything that we're discussing. You can do so by hitting up the chat box on YouTube. You can also do so on the post on PWFempire.com. And of course, on Twitter with the hashtag PWF Empire, because the conversation continues both on and off air. Let's go ahead and get it started with number one contender for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. That man is Randy Orton, who faced off against Roman Reigns and Ryback in the main event of Monday Night Raw with that number one contendership on the line. But I should say Roman Reigns and Ryback, because I was sitting there like, why the hell is he in this match? Like, what did he do to ascend to the level of the WWE?
He took part in last week's Raw main event, Jay. That's it right there. That's all you need.
That was nice of Kane to reward him in that way, too. So
yeah,
Kane on top of his stuff there. So, yeah, Randy Orton, he's a number one contender. Now, last week we talked about this already because I guess it was like a foregone conclusion, but now it is official. This will be our matchup for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins.
I definitely don't have any problems with the match being made. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I think it'll be a great match. The whole stuff from Monday, it was a collection of things that didn't make sense and didn't really need to happen. Like, for instance, why, if they're not qualifying matches for the triple threat, why did they have to wrestle twice? Anybody?
Well, two reasons. Two reasons they had to wrestle twice. One, because half the damn crew was on their way to England for the tour. And secondly, I see what they attempted to accomplish. They tried to set it up to a point where their opponents would kind of wear them down, and then they would wear each other down in the main event.
Well, yeah, that was the concept, but they won. Every guy won out, basically, except Orton got in a DQ.
Yeah, because God forbid Orton pins Kane. We can't do that.
I mean, I could see the match coming right from the beginning of the show, too. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Kane and Orton, again.
Yeah,
here it comes.
Kane was out there, like, ready to go and murder in his attire, which isn't that hard to do. All I was going to do is, like, I don't see why he couldn't just wear the collared shirt and take it off. Like, isn't it the same thing? Like, he had to come out with no shirt on? Was that overly necessary? But anyway, I didn't see the whole point of wearing each other down, because at the end of the day, it's not like you were qualifying, you were going to the match anyway. So when they were like, you're wearing down Randy Orton, I'm like, why? They don't want him to win? If you don't want him to win, don't give him a number one contenders match. I mean, to me,
see, that's always the issue that you run into when you have heel authority figures, just some plot holes that you're bound to run over.
Well, it wasn't. It would have been one thing if, like, we have to have a title match, so what we'll do is we'll do all these qualifying matches for a triple threat match, and, we can try to have these guys, not get the shot and kind of rig the whole thing so an authority member is facing Rollins and you fix it. But it was just like, you're wrestling a triple threat match, and just for shits and gigs, because we need time to fill, you were in other matches too. And didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but at the end of the day, they didn't give the main event much of any time. I believe it was a 5-minute main event match, which, heck of a Raw main event number one contenders match. Match wasn't all that, and at the end of the day, I'm fine with the result. It was a long-ass time of pretty grueling, boring stuff to get to a point I wanted to be. So I don't really have a whole lot of complaints. There was a bunch of TV matches that led to the point that I wanted, so I'm fine.
You mean you didn't enjoy Roman Reigns versus Big Show again?
No, I like that match better. Hang on, I like that match best because it was about goddamn time they did this match where Big Show beat up Roman made a comeback and won fucking clean. I was like, holy shit, they like finally did that match booked right. And then at the end of the night, they fucked it up by having him knock out Roman Reigns again. But still, it was like for the first time
Not
ever.
once, but twice.
For the first time ever, they just let Roman Reigns go out there and pin the Big Show. It was like, oh, thank God. It was like,
yeah, and while Evan, you were sitting there saying, oh, here we go, Kane versus Randy Orton again, I was sitting there like, oh, here we go, Roman Reigns versus Big Show again. But I was pleasantly surprised by the way that the match was booked. But you know WWE in their even Steven way of doing things, you know, they have to get that little shot in at the end.
Well, that's the match of the pay-per-view. Because they've been touring the house show match of Big Show and Roman Reigns in a street fight for about 6 months now, and it's been getting, good reviews from the house show crowds, so they're going to do that on Extreme Rules.
Well, yeah, we do have Randy Orton. Like I said, he's going to be the number one contender for Seth Rollins' WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I think that this is a great move, and it's kind of like the ends justify the means in this case because Randy Orton is on the top of his friggin' game right now, and I just love seeing Randy Orton on TV. Since he's come back from his vacation, his character is very refreshed, and I think that this is great, positioning him as a number one contender. Now, we have a ways to discuss who's going to win and where they can go from this point on, but I think that right now, this was the right decision to make, putting Randy Orton in that spot.
100% agree with you on that because honestly, I think they'll put on a really good match. WrestleMania was a good match. You have to figure, 2+2 here. It's going to be another good match between these two guys at Extreme Rules, so sensible, and definitely look forward to it, no question.
What's the stipulation? Anybody got any predictions? Any big
Probably
ideas?
Just straight up Extreme Rules.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah,
isn't it?
That's a good guess.
Because they've actually got one where they could do some wacky stipulation, like some really, really important stipulation that actually makes sense. This is like one of the things that they could do, but it's called Extreme Rules, so the main event must be called an Extreme Rules match.
Seems that way, at least.
Just don't do some stupid cage match. That's all I ask. Don't do a cage match. Now they're gonna do a cage match. I know, just to piss me off. But all I want is a one-on-one match with some weapons involved. That's all I need.
I think that's not too much to ask. We'll see how that goes at Extreme Rules. All right, next up, Charlie. You posted out a tweet 2 days ago, and I thought it was a very interesting tweet, so I'm going to bring it to the PWF Empire Live audience, and I would love to discuss this because we're at a point right now where WWE is basically reshuffling the deck. We have a lot of people all over the place in the card, and some people in places that they aren't accustomed to. You have the displaced main eventers like Daniel Bryan and John Cena with mid-card championships right now, and a guy like Seth Rollins as a WWE World Heavyweight Champion. So, Charlie, here was your tweet. Bryan and Cena with the mid-card belts doesn't work with Seth as champ. That's tailor-made for Brock, or if they had another top face. Now, all three of these guys, super talented individuals. Love all three of them. They're great. But I'm guessing that you're saying that this is sending some kind of message, and maybe it's the wrong message to be sending. Could you go a little more into detail with that?
Well, basically what I look at it is you're in a situation whereby your top heel is your world champion, and your two top baby faces are holding your mid-card titles. And that to me is a very weird dynamic. You asked why Ryback, and I'm like, well, who else? Typically that match would include Cena and or Bryan, and they couldn't do that because they are the mid-card champions. And when I look at this was clearly designed. I think we all know, or at least we all assume, that the main event of WrestleMania was not supposed to go the way it did. The main event of WrestleMania was set up for Roman Reigns to be the guy. And had that have worked, I think this Bryan and Cena as mid-card champions thing would have gone a lot better because you have a top face that isn't those guys, so they're not feuding with each other. And what I see now is a situation whereby, you've got your two top faces as mid-card champions, and you've got this kind of state of flux in the main event as a result of the fact that you got a heel champion. Because I look at Randy Orton, I say, yep, he's there short term, you're fine. But when this Randy Orton thing comes to a close, what next? Because I see Roman Reigns as someone I don't necessarily want to see elevate back to the main event yet. I think he should take some time away from the main event. I think that would be best for him and where he's going to go. And I look at everybody else and I go, there's nothing else there. That they don't have anything else built up for that. So I think that if Brock was still champion, it would be good because you'd have two top guys with belts. And you can, main event shows like that. But when you've got Seth sitting there with the title as your top heel, having those two guys be your mid-card champions totally leaves your main event picture in total cluster, Phil.
That makes a lot of sense, and I didn't even think about that. But yeah, like you said, you have the top two baby faces in the company as the mid-card champions, and you would imagine that guys like that would want to chase Seth Rollins and be involved with feuds with him for the championship. But since they're occupied elsewhere, it's like they don't even acknowledge what's going on in the top tier in WWE. And I guess it's a situation where they don't really have their shit together, so to say, because they take two main eventers from that scene and place them in the mid card. And while that may make a lot of sense straight off the top, like, okay, we're putting them there so they can enhance the mid card, well, you kind of have to have people there in the main event as well. So, which
was good in theory, but I sit there and look at it and I was like, you changed your mind on the main event for a reason. And now you're in a situation where it's like, maybe Cena could have won the U.S. title and you could have kept Bryan away from the IC title and re-elevated him back up, or vice versa.
Because Bryan versus Rollins would be unbelievable. I think we can all vouch for that.
That would be something we'd look to see. But, you also have Cena with Rollins in history. You got history there between those two guys. So there's like a missing longevity to this main event scene right now that I'm kind of worried about. And granted, I think Roman Reigns is, crowd reactions did get a little better over the past 2 weeks from, where we were last Monday with that crowd. But, Texas likes him out of nowhere. But, if those keep getting better, I just don't know if that will translate again to the main event, Seth versus Roman. I don't know if you're going to be there. And, who are you going to bring up to have longevity of this as long as those two guys are your mid-card champions?
And the key here is actually building up talent, because I sit here and it's very easy to have a body in that situation in a triple threat on Monday. Roman Reigns, he was that body. He was there. But it doesn't come off well if those people aren't built up enough to make it seem credible. You make it seem as if he has a legitimate spot in that match, because even though we could all see as clear as day, Ryback was going into that match to get the friggin' pin. Randy Orton was going to be the winner, and Roman Reigns sure as hell wasn't taking the pin. So Ryback was there for a specific purpose. Even with that being said, him being in the match to be the loser, it's still not okay that he was just thrust up there as if it was out of nowhere. So if you want to do things like this, if you want to enhance the mid-card by taking out main eventers, you have to make sure that you have people credible enough to step up and take their place. Because the way that it seems right now, it's kind of like they didn't know the ramifications of taking John Cena and Daniel Bryan out of that picture. And, when they made the change, like, if that's what happened, like, okay, we had one plan on this person was going to win the world championship, and then they flipped it, it's like they didn't think about how it was going to affect the rest of the card.
Yeah, it's like them being mid-card champions was designed for Brock Lesnar to be still the champion. Like a guy who's part-time, comes in every now and then, these guys have the belts, put on some great matches, maybe even main event a couple pay-per-views and whatnot, and there you go. I think this kind of just goes back to the whole thing that they don't have a lot of built-up credible names over the last number of years. It really isn't a ton of names out there. And, as much as like Dolph Ziggler may be talented, he's not in position to go for that world title right now, for example. A lot of those guys.
He would have been if they wouldn't have screwed up his damn push going into 2015.
Certainly. That's certainly true. At this point in time, maybe he would be in line by the time May, June rolls around here. But, it's a legitimate concern, and you might see Cena and Bryan's title reigns get cut short because they just don't have other options that are going to work very well. So that might be something
then you run right
see.
into like Cena loses the U.S. title and goes, okay, that was fun. I'm gonna get back to real shit now and just jump
exactly.
right back up.
And so then that negates the whole like let's build up our mid card championship. So it really is going to be a big roadblock for them to try to come around. And there's not a whole lot of names out there to necessarily fill that void, and that's reflects on them for not having enough people to fall back on, that they haven't built up right or that they've screwed up. And we have name after name of those people, and Dolph Ziggler is at the forefront of that because he would be in perfect position right now if they hadn't screwed it up for the third, fourth time, maybe even more with this guy. They've had several chances to maybe make this guy a main eventer, and I know there's a mixed reaction in terms of whether or not the guy is truly a like legitimate mainstay in that main event scene. But that doesn't mean that he still can't, go for the belt. Him and Rollins would put on a good match, obviously, and there could be probably a pretty cool story to it, too. And the same obviously goes for, like, a Bryan, but he's preoccupied with the Intercontinental Championship. So, I don't know, you might see Sheamus get elevated up there soon, but you would hope. But he's a heel, and Rollins is a heel. So, oh, well, there goes that, So, I mean, all these options are just kind of running out. They're running out of them quickly.
See, and here's my thing. I worry about, we all talk about the John Cena, the old monster of the month kind of thing where they would just build up heels just to jobber John Cena at the next pay-per-view. And that stuff does work in reality when you talk about having a top face, whether that be the likes of Hogan and Cena and guys like that. But when your champion's a heel, you can't just manufacture baby faces to go after the title. You just can't do it. So I'm worried about we're going to reach a point where either they're going to be force-feeding the same match, they're going to be pushing a guy that doesn't need to, could really use some time away to really reset his character, or they're just going to pick random people out of nowhere to have a match. Like if we get, no disrespect to Ryback at this point, but there's no need to do a Rollins-Ryback match. And from that triple threat, you would indicate that those are your three top contenders. So you would naturally say that there is some point where we could get Rollins and Ryback for the title. And this isn't even a commentary on Ryback. This is a commentary on the fact that there's no need for that match to main event a pay-per-view. And
I'm
so
pretty sure you could go there with a commentary on Ryback. Though.
See, but it doesn't need to be there now. We don't need to get in that argument. There's no discussion there.
Yeah, and I mean, as much as I like a guy like Ryback, he's not in that position. And really nobody is right now. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where it's like it feels like a free-for-all, like, oh, well, anybody could go for the belt, but there goes the prestige. It's like, do I have to work my ass off to get to the main event, or is there just going to be an opportunity that falls on my lap in a triple threat main event because I'm Ryback? I mean, I'm just saying, it kind of feels like a free-for-all, and that's not a good sign. And, that there you go. You're probably going to see a Cena or a Bryan lose that mid-card title earlier than initially planned, and then, therefore, they're going to end up going for the main event because they just don't have a whole lot of other options right now.
And it seemed to me like going into WrestleMania, they were positioning themselves like they felt like they were creating other options in the heel department. I look at two of the biggest pushes going into WrestleMania happen to be Rusev and Bray Wyatt. Two guys that I thought were figuring out to be, standard operating procedure monster of the week for Roman Reigns as champion. That to me was what the idea was, that you were preparing those guys to lose their, Rusev going to lose his title and, Bray was going to lose Undertaker, but at the same time you gave those guys big spots and big pushes going into that show with the idea that you could elevate them to face Roman Reigns. And now you can't do that because Seth Rollins is champion, and now in the babyface end we're sitting here with Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, and then a significant drop into wherever everybody else is.
Well, here's how I'm going to end this whole thing. What WWE did with putting the championship on Seth Rollins, ambitious as hell. What they did with taking two big names, two of the biggest names in WWE, and Daniel Bryan and John Cena, and putting them with mid-card championships, that was ambitious as hell as well. I'm just hoping that it works out because I like the idea and theory, but it's all about how you execute it. And if people are going to be running around like chickens with their head cut off and there's not going to be any consistency in the storytelling, then that definitely is a problem. That's something that needs to be addressed. Now, we're going to move on to buy or sell. First up, we have Tough Enough. It was announced that Tough Enough would be returning to the USA Network Tuesday June 23rd at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm going to go ahead and read from the press release that WWE put out there. The reimagined series will feature an all-new format with live elements and more fan participation than ever. So the show is going to be changed from what it was in the previous season where Stone Cold Steve Austin hosted it. But yeah, Tough Enough is coming back. So do you guys buy or sell the return of Tough Enough?
I'm gonna go ahead and sell. I've never liked this show. It's just not for me. This show is not my cup of tea at all. It's just this type of. There's certain reality TV that I can kind of at least stomach and watch and enjoy. You know.
Total Divas?
No. That's far from it. It's
Jersey Shore?
It's funny because it is in this competition style, the stuff that I would watch, like a Hell's Kitchen on Fox, for instance. Mm-hmm. But to me, watching it with wrestling, I don't know, I don't get into it. I've never gotten into Tough Enough, and to me, it's like the most annoying thing about this is that I'm gonna have to listen for months about people being like, "So where's the guy that won Tough Enough? When's he coming up?" Then oh my god,
I'm gonna buy the hell out of this because Charlie, I'm kind of in the same position as you, but really different because I'm a reality TV junkie, and I think that combining reality TV with pro wrestling, that's the best of both friggin' worlds. Like, that's why I watch Total Divas, and I love Tough Enough. Like, this whole competition series, that whole nature of it, like, I love those shows on MTV, Real World, Road Rules, Challenges, and things like that, and to have a wrestling version of that, I think it's great. But one thing that I do find absolutely hilarious, they just started rolling the previous season of Tough Enough with Stone Cold, Booker T, Trish.
Which, ironically enough, I'm watching
Network.
Because they have the great Evilise on that show. So I'm watching until she gets eliminated.
And you know what's so funny? They're running commercials for Tough Enough on the WWE Network as if we don't know how the show ended. And as if we don't know. Like, the commercial was talking about finding the next breakout star for WWE. Only one person from the damn show has a job right now. Just so happened it was the first person eliminated. So, good job on finding that star.
Good work. And there's a couple people still doing the wrestling thing. A couple of them doing stuff in Lucha Underground, which will be airing tonight. They're actually still teaming together, ironically enough, tonight.
Yeah, and the guy who won it is
although we did interview him on a previous installment of a show.
Oh yeah, shout out to Andy, friend to the show.
Friend of the show, friend of the program.
Big Andy.
Oh yeah,
Andy, man.
We interviewed Rima. We had Rima on the show. She's a great friend of the program. She came in guns blazing.
Yes.
She called
didn't
everybody
even have
the
to
fuck
like. We didn't even have to throw anything at her. She was just like, "Give me that damn ball."
I will buy this as well. I always have enjoyed the Tough Enough concept too. I'm more on the Charlie side in terms of not being hugely into reality television, but because it's wrestling, I will especially enjoy it, and that's like why I can sit and watch Total Divas, because it actually refers to the product that I watch and something that I'm very, very into, so therefore I can get into it. However, the normal format of reality television is not something that I am into in any way, shape, or form, but Tough Enough, I look forward to watching that again. I was disappointed that it wasn't back on the year after it was on a few years back, because I enjoyed it back in the early 2000s. First couple of times it was on as well, with the likes of The Miz and Josh Matthews. But yeah, so I look forward to it to see what ends up happening. Interesting show, and it's gives you a little more insight as to what goes on, a little more uncut stuff. So that's always an interesting aspect too.
And I so wish that we could have the team from Tough Enough Season 5 come back. I know one of them can't come back because he has some issues going on. Build him high.
Apparently it just got rumored it might be Jericho, but I think that's just people being like, well, he replaced Austin's podcast. There you go.
Yeah, like that show was so friggin' awesome. Stone Cold as the host, like even if you didn't like the competition part of it or you thought that the show was BS, like just seeing Stone Cold
I watched
at the end
back
of the
that
episode,
Melina versus Alicia Vox thing like 9 times.
He was like he wanted to
He's like, who?
But yeah, Stone Cold, Trish, Booker T, all of them were awesome. I'm pretty sure that the lineup is going to change this time around, and the show is changing itself because they're talking about incorporating a live format into it. I don't know how that's going to work because I like the show as it is, where you kind of like take it outside of the traditional wrestling setting. Like when they're talking about a live format, I'm pretty sure they're probably just going to throw them into, before SmackDown or something like that, and like
fuck it, we'll do it live.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind like a fan voting process where like you could see like who the people like from that standpoint. I mean, that could be something.
They're gonna have to leave the indie guys out for that because shit, they just zoom right to the end.
Oh god, but what do you think let's jump really far ahead beyond the show. Do you think the fact that we can like have we watch the developmental every week, do you think that'll play a factor into maybe actually finding a legit star out of this?
You know what? Something that I was thinking about, because WWE always has an issue when they crown a tough enough winner and try to incorporate them on the roster. What about Tough Enough basically serving as a fast track to NXT?
Yeah, that would to me be it, because I think whoever wins is going to the developmental roster to learn the rest of the shit. Mm-hmm. And like before, all that would do is by the time they would even try to debut, they're no longer the Tough Enough guy, which I think is kind of a good thing on some level. But at the same time, I think that maybe in keeping the person relevant, you could use NXT to do that. And I think that in order for that to work, you've got to kind of use more experienced wrestlers. I don't think you can just pull so many people off the street. So I think that's also a problem when you just bring in these guys. And it's a cool story. These people have always wanted to do it, getting on the show. And, I know everybody loves that gimmick. But at the same time, it plays into, like, they're just not ready. And so, I think that if they could get some, real experienced wrestlers on there that know what they're doing and can jump into an NXT setting and at least, be good enough to be there, you can make it work.
And that's a ready-made feud right off the bat. You can have people just look at this guy like, okay, so you think you're on the fast track now?
Guy, Kevin Owens waited 12 years to get to this point.
Oh,
yeah.
Look it, right now. Do it. I can see that coming from a friggin' mile away, and it will be awesome. Even if the guy isn't any good, like Kevin Owens, you're going to get your ass kicked. So as long as you know how to fall, that's going to be a good little segment there.
Take those bumps hard.
Okay, next up, we are going to discuss Sheamus. We didn't get a chance to talk about him on last week's show, but he debuted or re-debuted on Monday Night Raw. We've been seeing all of these vignettes promoting his debut, but it wasn't the Sheamus that we were used to seeing. He comes out with a mohawk with braids in his beard, and on SmackDown, he debuted a new kick-ass theme. I'm just saying it right now. I'm buying the hell out of Sheamus. This is major buys. I just want to go to a few of these tweets that he sent out, because he was accused of being reckless in his match with Daniel Bryan on SmackDown, and he beat the hell out of Daniel Bryan. He really did. Some new moves in his moveset, all of that good stuff. He tweets out, "Reckless, haha, your idols are spoiled lily-livered runts." I don't like the whole lily-livered part, but this next tweet is awesome. "News to me. Thought PG era stood for Pagan Gladiator era. Until told different, I'll continue to smash skulls of lesser men." Major buys.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and buy Sheamus too. And I think everybody, everyone made fun of his look. I think his look's great. I think it's different. He looks like a crazy badass, which will work.
You know what I would love for him to do? When they chant, "You look stupid," basically say something like, "Okay, you're saying I look stupid, but I had Daniel Bryan laid out on the ground, and is that what you say something like that? So who really looks stupid here? I'm standing tall, and he's laid out in a puddle of his own blood."
Yeah, there's that, and before he looked like Beaker from yeah. So it was
the
like
Muppets.
Yeah. So this
they even did a segment with it, for Christ's sake.
Yes.
Didn't they say they were cousins or something?
Oh God.
I love this. Absolutely love this. I love the promos. I love the look. At first, I was like, man, this look, I'm not so sure if they're going to keep him babyface because, again, they did the whole tease of him being a babyface, and I'm like, please, broke Daniel. Please, broke Daniel. And then he did what I wanted, and then I got very excited. So, and this look fits the heel gimmick. I love the new entrance. The new theme song fits. Awesome. It is great. I am buying the hell out of this. It's refreshing. It's new. It's cool. And I like that he wants to take out the underdogs, like it's something else, and I mean, like he even said something that rings to be the truth, there's not a whole lot of guys my size anymore. It's kind of true, and I love this. I think this is some of the best stuff from Sheamus ever, no question. I mean, I know that's early to say it, but I mean, how many times can you really say, like, yeah, Sheamus is my undeniable favorite? Like, not really, and his babyface run had its moments of being entertaining, but for me, for the most part, was just okay. At moments, it served its purpose really well, and at other moments, it was like, yeah, Sheamus is just another guy. So this is making him stick out really, really well, and I look forward to see what they do. Let's hope they don't drop that ball. I hope not. Triple H and him are pretty close, so I don't think they'll drop the ball on this one. I think this will be a good one. And so far, absolutely
I don't know if Jay can actually get behind that comment. You just kind of messed with Jay's psyche.
Well, I mean, let's be honest here. Fact over.
Well, hell, Triple H has not only dropped the ball, he's dropped Sheamus before. So, yeah, I remember that pedigree through the table. I remember that.
I do too.
But yeah, like I can definitely say in its onset, before we even see what it's like as it's expanded, this is the best character that Sheamus has had, as far as I'm concerned. Like, that's how much I am buying into this badass Sheamus. Like,
oh, you didn't like him stealing Alberto Del Rio's car and going on a tour of El Paso?
And then throwing up in it?
I did not like that at all. Bertie. I was just thinking about that the other day.
Bertie.
You know what Sheamus could use?
Him and his old Irish folk tales and stuff about
oh my god. The bad attempts at comedy were just like, dude, please. This is bad.
I will say Sheamus could use some kind of like badass, Irish valet to go with him. Yeah.
Oh, I see what you did there. You had enough of that last week talking about Sasha Banks to Suplex City.
No, she's going to Bexplex City.
Oh God, you and this damn Becky Lynch. I don't know what I'm going to do with you. We're going to talk about Bray Wyatt next. What can I say about Bray Wyatt? Here's what I'll say. I have the perfect new t-shirt idea for Bray Wyatt. Declare, get beat, promo, repeat. Because that is pretty much Bray Wyatt's mantra in WWE these days. He declares that he's going to do something. He gets defeated. He cuts another promo acting as if it never happened, and then he's on to the next thing. So on Monday Night Raw, he had one of his backstage vignettes, and here are a few comments from Bray Wyatt. Your entire life has revolved around dedication, but no matter how dedicated you are, you can't compete with the forces of nature, and you most certainly can't compete against the greatest power of them all, fear. For it is not your drive of success that molds you, it's your fear of failure. Do you buy or sell Bray Wyatt and his new tirade?
I don't fucking know. I haven't decided yet. I'll let you know. I think I know who it's about. I think that match with Big Show and Extreme Rules is going to end with Roman Reigns being pinned again as a result of a little lights out.
So he's talking about Roman Reigns.
Yes, I think so. Well, it makes sense to me because this is a dude that's had a few different career choices, I guess you could say. Like, he was in football, that didn't work out. WWE, went to WrestleMania main event, that whole thing happened, and he just kind of that whole deal. So that could play into it's like drive for success, fear of failure thing. That could play into that. I'm trying to figure stuff out here, but I think that's where they're going. But
if they go with Reigns, my only fear is that this kind of comes back to the whole Ambrose feud, and it doesn't do a whole lot for either guy potentially. That's my number one fear coming out of that possibility. So I don't know yet. Well, I will say he made me go from not giving a damn about the whole Taker thing to me really being like genuinely excited for it. But Reigns and Wyatt, something we haven't had yet. But I worry that it may be.
We got it once on an episode of Raw, and boy, did it not end well.
Let's forget.
I remember the little dust up we had on Twitter because of that too.
Yeah,
that was interesting.
You remember those two guys aren't Brock Lesnar and Undertaker,
But yeah, Evan, you kind of hit the nail on the head there for the reason that I am buying the hell out of Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt has residual goodwill with me, and I can continue to pay out that goodwill in perpetuity because what he did with the Undertaker at WrestleMania, I can't stress this enough how fucking awesome he was in that feud, carrying it single-handedly and reviving the Undertaker. So that was great. So it's kind of like I look at Bray Wyatt like I look at Girl Scout cookies. I don't want to buy it, but it's for a good cause. It's to say, keep it up.
Wait, you don't like Girl Scout cookies?
No, I don't. Let me put it like this. I don't like those aggressive-ass Girl Scouts. Like,
oh, okay.
Because they are reckless these days. Like, do you know that they strategically place themselves next to ATMs? So when you go past and you say, sorry, I don't have any money. Oh, here's an ATM right here. Like, you little...
It's good business.
Yeah, I digress.
I would think someone like you would appreciate something like that. I see you as a pretty astute businessman.
No, I don't want cookies all of the damn time. Like, if you see me going into a grocery store, I'll get cookies from there. Do you sell Oreos?
They're running a
stuff?
sale.
No.
You know they got triple stuff, I think?
Really?
Yeah, I heard about triple stuff.
That sounds excellent right now. But, I mean, Bray Wyatt, and looks like he's had
that was the most ridiculous tangent we've ever been on.
It's a good tangent, though. Cookies are something that... PWF Cookie Edition. Last week we had math. This week we go about food. I mean,
Speaking
we're
of which, I got
expanding our horizons.
Got my first nature box the other day, and peanut butter nom-noms, dude. Good stuff.
Sounds like this. I had some peanut butter before the show. I almost choked.
Yeah, you're not supposed to eat that stuff, like, just by itself.
Why not?
Because you could
Peanut
die.
butter is bae.
That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I was just going to say, that's the weirdest thing I've ever heard you say, man.
Okay.
I need a moment.
Okay. WWE's latest interview special on the WWE Network. This time around, we saw a different face of the interview. It was usually Stone Cold. He hosted two specials on the network. This time around, it was Chris Jericho, and the interviewee was John Cena. Now, I guess this interview was very polarizing because a lot of people don't like the way that Jericho handled it. They wanted him to go after Cena harder, but the way in which Jericho approached the interview, these are two friends, and they had a lot of those friendly stories during the podcast, and it was kind of a lighthearted interview. Do you buy or sell?
I'm so sick of the word polarizing. I'd like to sell that, just so you know.
Do you buy or sell this interview on the WWE Network?
I watched it and I'll buy it. I had no problems with it. To me, it was John Cena. Like, I don't know what real in-depth stuff you could really ask him. He
got the heel turn. He got the
5 moves of doom.
Yeah, he got the heel turn, 5 moves of doom. Got the dueling. Let's go Cena sucks chance. What more could you ask for? Like,
I to me don't know what else you wanted. Like, there was not much else to talk about. I enjoyed just the little stories, and it was fine with me. I don't need every one of these to be, like, the most in-depth and, like, I didn't want him to sit down and be like, do you feel like you buried Bray Wyatt? Like, why? Who cares? You know what I mean? Like,
apparently people do care about stuff like that. Like, that's what they want to hear.
Whatever. No harm, no foul.
I mean, I feel like Stone Cold probably asks, like, those pressing questions maybe a bit more. And, I mean, a lot of people have been kind of against Jericho because of the fact that he's been, like, kind of the representing a WWE kiss ass lately. I mean, he has kind of like gone to bat for WWE in a couple of situations that you're kind of like head scratching type of situations. But that aside, I don't really like take that into whether or not I'm going to like love an interview with him and Cena. I personally think it's fine, and you know, I mean, his podcast is actually generally quite enjoyable. I've listened to a few episodes of it in the past. It's not as good as Stone Cold's, but I mean, I'm a bigger fan of Stone Cold anyway, and I think he's got a better, just a better way of presenting how he asks questions, and his discussion I think is a little more entertaining to listen to than Jericho's. But that's just how I see it personally. I still thought it was cool, and it was fine. You know, it did what it needed to, and it wasn't as cool. I didn't enjoy it as much as I did, say, the two that Stone Cold had with Vince and Triple H, but
it's also a different atmosphere. I mean, you can ask Vince and Triple H about what goes on running the company. Like, as much as people want to pretend like John Cena's in the creative meeting or head of creative or whatever the hell, I mean, I don't really think he is. So.
Yeah, the only thing he's got is just the fact that he's the top guy, which is obviously a big deal. But, you know, it's like some of those questions just wouldn't be asked anyway, but maybe Stone Cold would... He would probably venture a lot closer to that line than Jericho would. So I think that interview would have been more entertaining, yes, but I still think this one was like enjoyable to watch.
Well, I thought that this interview was entertaining as hell. I really enjoyed it, so I'm giving a bye to Chris Jericho and John Cena. I love the friendship that they have between each other, and you could see that kind of like chemistry between those two. Like, it just radiated off the screen, and I thought it added up for a great atmosphere. Now, it was a vastly different interview than the ones that we've seen from Stone Cold Steve Austin, the one with Vince and the one with Triple H. But at the end of the day, Stone Cold and Chris Jericho are two completely different people. And Chris Jericho, he actually responded back to some of the critics on his Instagram page, and he said that for those of you complaining that I didn't ask the hard questions, what were you expecting? So, why did you bury so-and-so, John? Ever murder someone, Cena? It's a talk show, for Pete's sake. I'm all about fun stories and having a few laughs, and my show will always reflect that. Don't want to laugh? Then don't watch the next one. And there will be a next one. I mean, he pretty much just...
Thank you, fuck you, bye.
But yeah, I thought it was an awesome interview. I loved some of the things that he talked about, like with Cena telling the story about how he had a match with William Regal and he stunk up the joint, and after the match, Regal
I don't think he had a match with Regal. I think he had a match with somebody else, and he asked Regal, like, who the...
Oh, well, I don't think he said the person he had a match with, and if it wasn't with Regal.
He went to ask Regal about what
it
was.
He asked Regal about the match and if he had any feedback, and he said, you know, the least you could do is buy a pair of boots and look like a wrestler. And Cena didn't get what he said. Like, basically he was saying, you're fucking terrible. You know, Cena was like, oh my god, I'm gonna go out and buy boots now, and he bought 75 pairs of boots. So I thought that was pretty funny. A lot of other great moments in this
and they did talk about stuff like, you know, response to Vince's brass ring comment and what Cena...
I thought what he said about that was awesome.
And what Cena, you know, would say to the guy taking his spot. He addressed Roman and, you know, that deal, and he did talk about stuff. I mean, maybe it was a little bit more Cena bringing that stuff up than it was Jericho asking, but at the same time, like, you know, I don't know. I saw no problems with Jericho's questions. I never once did he talk about something where I went, why the fuck are they talking about this?
As far as the whole brass ring thing, like, it's a very interesting situation to be placed in, because you have the face of the company who was openly saying, I'm telling all of the young guys of today, go out there, and if you have to do something that somebody explicitly told you not to do, but you think that this is going to get you further in your career, then damn it, do it. And they'll yell at you, but if it works, then, you know, that risk was worth taking. I thought that was pretty interesting. And also, what was it? He pretty much solidified the reason why I look at him as the greatest face of the company that WWE has ever had. And realize that when I say the greatest face of the company, I did not say the greatest face. I have to make sure I explicitly state that. The greatest face of the company, meaning the mascot that would... Not necessarily the spokesperson the representative.
He has been the most reliable, no question. Like, when it comes to, like, big time, like, stepping up to the plate when it's needed and being good for charity and helping the image of the company. I mean, I'm not saying, like, I know we've already, discussed this in length, and we don't necessarily agree on the terminology, but I can at least admit that, his run has been something else, no question about that, and the guy is a freak of an athlete. And anybody who says that he's not is out of their mind.
Yeah, Chris Jericho said he was one of the X-Men there because of his miraculous healing powers. But, as far as John Cena being, like, the best face of the company WWE has ever had, he confirmed my thoughts on that in that interview when he was talking about how it's not about his legacy. It's not about what he wants to do or how he wants to be remembered. It's all about taking WWE to the next level. And I don't think they ever had someone that is that dedicated and that loyal before, and I don't think they ever will again. You could only wish, hope, pray, and dream that you could ever get somebody like John Cena whenever he hangs up the boots.
Yep.
Alrighty, next up, we're going to have a little bit of talk about New Japan Invasion Attack. They had their recent pay-per-view or their big event recently. Charlie, did you watch the show?
I did.
And I want to focus specifically on the main event because that was the only match that I actually had time to watch. And we actually did get a comment from someone on Twitter asking us to talk about that match. I'm going to go ahead and find that comment right now. It was from, and I'm stalling right now so I can...
Well, if you want to stall right now, I will also say if you're checking out the show, you need to watch Young Bucks versus Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero. Very good tag team match.
Okay, I can't find the freaking comment, but...
You blew it.
But you know who you are. Thank you for Oh wait, here it goes. Anish. He says, on the coming episode, could you talk a little about the New Japan Invasion Attack pay-per-view? Phenomenal show, pun intended. So the main event of that show was AJ Styles defending the IWGP Heavyweight Championship versus Kota Ibushi. He won the New Japan Cup.
Yep.
And what did you think about this match, Charlie? I know we had like an awesome moment to end it.
Yeah, that was absolutely beautiful. I'm sure if you haven't seen the GIF, you need to go look it up. But the match as a whole was really good, and there's a really great story going on right now with Ibushi. Jay, I don't know if you... basically, with the New Japan Cup, you get to pick which champion you face. And so a lot of people said that he should have picked Nakamura. If you remember, he had that huge chase for Nakamura around Wrestle Kingdom. And so a lot of people were like, why didn't he pick Nakamura? Well, there's this great story being laid out that in his quest for Nakamura and the Intercontinental Championship, he won this New Japan Cup and got his shot to get that title, but got blinded by the aspirations of being the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. So a lot of people were, upset, like, okay, they just did this just to have Ibushi lose completely clean. And to me, what I saw was a guy who had this chase for the Intercontinental title, who got the opportunity to go for the heavyweight title, and that got kind of blinded by that and lost sight of where he really is, and then lost to AJ. So now we're going to probably pick up back with the chase for Nakamura as we head into G1. You might see that as a rematch in that match, and we could build the Wrestle Kingdom with maybe those two doing something together. And there's a really good story with him going on right now.
And anybody who wants to watch the match and you haven't already, you might want to put us on pause or at least put us on mute right now so you can go ahead and skip over it because we're about to spoil the ending of the match. So I'm going to give you guys a few seconds to do that. Holy shit, that ending of that match. So if you guys don't know, Kota Ibushi goes to the top rope and he is in the process of doing a Phoenix Splash. We've seen Seth Rollins do this move in WWE. He is mid-air. AJ Styles plucks him out of mid-air and hits him with the Styles Clash. What a friggin' moment. What a friggin' match. Just all around awesome stuff from New Japan. They rarely disappoint when it comes to the main events.
Yeah, they do. And after the match, we had a nice little appearance from Okada. He apparently is going to be coming for that title, whether that be in the G1 or they're going to have another show before there where he challenges for the belt. AJ Styles versus Okada, that is like one of the matches that if you gave me, you put me on an island, you said you were only going to take two guys and you're going to, it's the only match you can watch. Those would be two great candidates to put together. So they are definitely top of the list, and I can't wait for that match.
And guys, you will go ahead, Evan.
I was just gonna say, man, credit to AJ Styles for being just as good as he's ever been, even in his upper 30s, even 15 years into his career. It doesn't even matter. AJ Styles hasn't lost.
You can't even tell.
No, he hasn't lost a step, and he is honestly still one of the best there is on this planet, has been for many years, and it's just awesome to see that this guy has done so well outside of the TNA bubble and has actually done even better and put on some amazing matches. Just credit to him as a competitor. One hell of a wrestler.
It's so funny to tell people that AJ Styles was actually employed by WCW. Like, that is an amazing thing.
Like, how the hell are you even old enough for that to be possible? Yeah, because WCW closed down almost 15 years ago. Damn. So, yeah, guys, you will be hearing a bit more from us when it comes to New Japan and also some other pro wrestling companies around the world. We are in the process of setting something up, so that is on the horizon for you guys. So, yeah, be prepared for that. Don't want to reveal too many details, but be on the lookout for it. Now, AJ Lee has retired from WWE. It was announced, what was it, on Friday?
I don't know. I don't care.
About a week ago?
Something like that.
Yeah, we'll go with Friday.
Yeah. So, yeah. She's gone now.
All right. And there's your serious AJ Lee discussion.
Wow. I'm sorry. I'm just choked up. I'm choked up from the emotional distress that has been brought on by the DVD. So I'll get to it eventually.
Charlie, what was your favorite AJ Lee match?
Well, I didn't watch NXT on Hulu, so none of them. I mean, I guess the one we were there for at SummerSlam with Paige, go for that one. Most of them I went to the bathroom for, so.
Okay, guys. Let's go ahead and break it down here. AJ, I don't have a problem with her personally at all, so this is not a CM Punk situation. Like, she seems like a nice enough person, but here's the thing. I look at all of this talk about AJ coming from the fans, coming from WWE themselves, and they're attempting to position her as this great diva, one of the greats of all time, and the way that they're pushing her and what we actually saw from AJ, or what I saw from AJ, didn't really connect. And as far as I'm concerned, AJ is overrated. And I hate the fact that we're placed in a situation where AJ was sectioned off from the rest of the divas and it was made to seem like she was so much bigger and so much better than them, when at the end of the day, she was just one of them. She fell in line right with the rest of them, but for some strange reason, WWE pushed her like she was different. She acted as if she was different, and people treated her like she was different, and I just don't get it. Like, I had a hard time going over AJ's list of matches and seeing, a great match. I've literally never seen a great match from AJ. She doesn't have a career-defining match. She doesn't have a career-defining feud. And the way that they're pushing her just because she took a stand against the machine, I just think it's ridiculous.
So you'd say every one of her matches was like a 4 out of 10?
I wouldn't even necessarily say that. I don't want to make it seem as if I'm bashing her. Like, I'm not saying that AJ was terrible. I'm not trying to put her at the bottom of the barrel. I'm just saying that she isn't the cream of the crop. She's not at the bottom of the barrel, not the cream of the crop either.
Understandable.
Yeah, to me, I don't know, there was just nothing she did, and you want to sit there and assume that if, there could have been something there. I think there was potential with her, but it's not like we ever saw it. Like, there was potential, it never came out, and you can't assume that things would have happened. So
I think she's a talented girl. I think like her talking ability was clearly superior to a lot of the other divas, no question about that. And I think her in-ring ability was pretty solid too. But I think it's one of those eras where again, divas wrestling hasn't been a big deal in these last number of years, and I feel like there was this perception that she was actually making a legitimate difference in that division, but I don't think there's a whole lot of actual evidence to back that statement up. And I think that's the ultimate thing to take away from this is I have no denial of AJ Lee's talent, because I personally think she's quite talented. But when it comes to her actually making real differences, not so sure about that one. But I will say, like, was she one of the more enjoyable divas to watch over the last number of years? There's no question about it.
Yeah, like, I look at AJ, and I don't know if I didn't include it in any of the clips of the DVD preview, but she said very frequently, vitalize the divas, how she saved the divas division, how all of the divas should be lining up and thanking her and bowing at her feet because of everything that she's done for them, and how she's broken down doors and shattered glass ceilings. The way that I look at it, out of all of AJ's antics in WWE, nothing or no one got over except AJ herself. Like, what did she do for the Divas division? Like, she has made the comment herself that she was the Divas division, and people would readily admit that the Divas division sucks. So I mean, if you're putting two and two together, what is that saying? Like, I don't think that any of AJ's memorable moments in WWE had anything to do with the Divas division whatsoever. And as far as her helping the Divas division, revitalizing it, it's a whole bunch of BS. Like, the Divas division right now is in the process of revitalization, and realize that it started when she was gone, and it's going to continue now that she's retired. Like, this is when the work is about to get started, not whatever the hell they're claiming she did.
And in a way, that's actually kind of too bad, because she would put on good matches with plenty of the people who, you'll end up seeing from NXT. But yeah, that generation of the NXT divas and some of those who are on the main roster now, but I really look to those NXT divas. That's the revolution. It's not what AJ did. AJ was, you could almost say she was wrong place, wrong time. If she was in the same, to a certain extent. Again, hear me out
I'm
here.
saying, I'm frowning my face up because I know that it's right. Like, the Divas division of today, like, I think the thing is, WWE built her up and didn't have a counterpart for her like they had in the past with Trish and Lita. So maybe it was a situation where it was like wrong place, wrong time for her. But like, I can't sit here and feel sorry for her and say, I'm going to give you a few extra points, and yeah, you were great because you could have been great.
Yeah, no, I totally, not going to throw any sympathy points out there, but basically you're echoing what I'm saying as well. Maybe that's just what it was. But no doubt a talented girl. But those NXT divas are going to be the ones that make this big difference, and that's an exciting, potential here to go forward. I hope that it works out for the best.
And it's funny because I see a lot of people in the chat saying that she was still better than everybody else in today's Divas division, and it's like, sure, if you want to say that, I'm going to allow for that argument because I think it's a legitimate argument. That doesn't make her as good as you say she is. Like, if your opinion is that everyone else sucks, and she's like, she's basically the smartest person in preschool.
And the point is that we're making here isn't that she isn't one of the most talented, because like you just said, that's a very legit thing to say, but that doesn't equate to the fact that the Divas division still hasn't been relevant, still hasn't been consistently important. And even if she did maybe cut one really awesome promo on Total Divas, did they follow up with that with weeks and weeks of good storytelling and a great feud and program to follow up? No, they never did that. And that's not on AJ. That's on, creative for not making the Divas division matter. So AJ thus did not change the division. That's the basic, ultimate thing that we're trying to get at, I feel like. it's like she really didn't alter things. Could she have been at the forefront of that if they were to present it in a better way? Yeah, sure. But they didn't. That's the bottom line of it. She was talented.
And even with that promo, though, like that pipe bombshell that they call it, like her skills, they were on point there, but I just didn't like the way that it was set up because, especially in the situation that we're in right now, where you have chants like, you know, you suck so-and-so and you suck so-and-so directed at the Divas last week. Like, I look back in history, and I played clips of those in there where she tells the Bellas that, you know, talent isn't sexually transmitted, and she says in that pipe bombshell promo, oh, I'm not here because I'm from a famous wrestling family, or, you know, I didn't suck up to the right people. Like, she perpetuated that whole image that they were tramps and things like that. Like, it was easy for her to demean them in that way to make herself look better in the process. And that, to me, isn't any kind of empowerment. That isn't any kind of revitalization. Like I said, she was the only one who benefited from anything that WWE did with her. And I mean, that's good for her. But my issue is when you run around talking about what you did for the Divas division, sit your ass down, because you didn't.
And I love the people that are like, you know, oh, her impact can't be denied. It's like, what? Yeah, like, really, what would be different? What would be different if AJ Lee never happened?
Exactly.
Reigns for, you know, somebody else.
That's the bottom line here. Is that, yeah, it's like what others have said in the past. You know, everybody gets a turn with the Divas title. So it's too bad because, you know, you want it to be better. Like, sure, we all want that. And AJ was a great talent in that way. So I feel like it's not fair to call us AJ haters necessarily, because I know I personally, I'm not going to speak for anyone else, but I personally am not an AJ hater in any way, shape, or form. Like I've been saying, I've been praising her talent the entire time. I'm just saying that her presence didn't make a difference. Basically, we've said this a million times, but in a bunch of different ways. That's all there is to it.
And she, you know, at the end of the day, didn't have those moments that sets her apart from anybody else. You know, everybody, and the defense for this is like, oh, well, she's, you know, it's better than having Eva Marie on TV. Like, if you have to grade her based off of the lowest common denominator, that makes our point very easily.
Well, good luck to AJ, though.
Yeah, she'll be good. Go home, hang out with, you know, your husband, and you two can be happy, and it's fun to see you happy, and you're good. I like people who are happy. Go have fun.
But I do have to say, though, what a terrible situation that she was placed in, because I went back and watched some stuff from her on NXT, and you can, and this actually played into the reason why people liked her so much. They gave her, you know, bonus points for loving wrestling and being dedicated to it, and all of that stuff is great. But yeah, I went back and I watched NXT, and I saw the way that she spoke with passion, and, you know, it was kind of funny seeing her on NXT with CM Punk on commentary.
It was an arm drag. Americans do arm drag.
I saw that one too, but yeah, she cut a promo where she was talking about how she didn't need coffee because she needed a natural high, and she was natural dynamite. And CM Punk actually said on commentary, I need some natural dynamite in my life. So, bam, there you go. You got it. But, yeah, and like just seeing the amount of passion that she had, and I guess this ties into, because we all know why she left. We all know. Because of the kerfuffle that has been created with CM Punk and his situation with WWE. This was written on the wall when he had that interview on the podcast in late 2014. It was only a matter of time before AJ left. But for situations out of her control, it is kind of sad to see her career end in that way, especially at the time that we're at right now, where this whole Give the Divas a Chance movement has started. So I can say that AJ, she wasn't what people claimed she was before, but I can only imagine what she could have been if this thing had got up and rolling.
And I think that the one thing I do like about her, and I think this is why a lot of people give her more credit than, you know, maybe she's earned, is that at the end of the day, this is what she wanted to do. You know, we've all seen the thing with her meeting Lita and that whole shtick, and, you know, at the end of the day, we can all appreciate that she did love the business, and there's not many divas who, grow up wanting to be wrestlers that are actually in WWE. So we can all like her for that, and, she definitely had potential. But at the end of the day, when you look at the results, what people want to pretend is there is just not there.
And that's the bottom line. And we're getting a tweet from Aisha. She says, damn, what is my issue with these tweets? At least Sasha can replace AJ. No, scratch that. AJ wished to be Sasha. To be honest, Sasha and Charlotte are the future of that division. Like, I guess this does open up a void in the Divas division. And it's interesting to see how it'll be filled because they do have a Divas Battle Royal coming up next week to determine the number 1 contender for the Divas Championship.
I'm rooting for Ariane, man.
And she's rooting for Alicia Fox, so...
Yeah.
Oh my god, that segment with Kane was so bad. Oh my god.
Yeah, I didn't know whether they were attempting to flirt with him or annoy him, but shit, it seemed like it was on the side of annoying.
Like,
if I give you this match, will you get the hell out of my face?
Like it's so funny because like usually if those 4 girls were in there trying to like flirt you into something, you wouldn't tell them to leave. But there's like by the end of that segment, I was like, get them out of there! Like, holy crap, they were annoying.
And Summer Rae was just going all in.
Yeah, she's a natural.
Alrighty, guys, that's it for this episode of PWF Empire Live. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back next week, same place, same time, PWFempire.com, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And in the meantime, if you haven't listened to the last episode of PWTR, you can find that on PWFempire.com, and they're usually on Mondays at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right after Raw. So go ahead and check them out. I specifically waited until like the very last part of the show because I found out that they only watched to see if we're gonna give them a shout out. So yeah, I made you watch the whole show since it's so. I'm not even gonna go there. Another story for another day. But yeah, watch PW or listen to PWTR. Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
You're welcome.
You have to be here.
Do I?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think my attendance says otherwise.
Sorry, man. I got your back.
All right. Peace out, guys.